Put your right foot there, put your left foot there. Everybody's putting their foot somewhere. Where somewhere? I don't know, but looky here, there's a scroll over there. Well, this can only mean one thing. Video games! Here we have Secret of Mana, an action role-playing game originally released on the Super Nintendo in 1993, and it's certainly one that does engage me. However, it only does so in a way that's nothing like I've mentioned. What extent could that be? Let's find out together. Secret of Mana takes place in a fantasy world where a mystical source of energy called mana exists. Being a strong source of power, there's bound to be evil out there that would want to exploit it. In this case, an entire civilization decided it would be a cool idea to build a flying warship called the Mana Fortress. But then all the gods were like, dude, what the hell? Not cool. So this triggered a war between the civilians and the gods, which took an extremely destructive toll on the world. Mana continued to diminish until a hero finally stepped up with the Mana Sword and destroyed the Mana Fortress, thus restoring peace to the world. This may sound like the end of it all, but as the game mentions here, history does have a tendency to repeat itself. You start off the game as a boy who is exploring a waterfall with two others. Who are they? Doesn't matter. Either way, they're all there looking for a treasure. But after a moment of clumsiness, you end up falling into the lake and end up discovering the fabled Mana Sword for yourself, which has been laying there dormant for years. How many years? Doesn't matter. So naturally, the next best thing to do is to pull out the sword. Unfortunately, this course of action releases a bunch of monsters all over the world. The village soon finds out about what you've done and banish you from the village as a result. It sucks that you have to move on forward alone, but that doesn't last too long. Soon you meet up with the girl and the sprite to complete your party. Working together as a full 3-piece unit, the main goal is to re-energize the Mana Sword by going to the 8 Mana Temples to unseal the 8 Mana Seeds. The problem is that you're not the only one who is trying to do this. The Empire seeks to claim all seeds in order to rebuild the Mana Fortress in their quest for more power. It's a race to the top between good and evil, and it's up to you to make sure that good does triumph over evil. Unlike many other JRPGs out there at the time that were turn-based, Secret of Mana took a more action-oriented route with its gameplay. The way the characters in your party attack enemies is based entirely on a timing system. You attack, then you wait a split second for the meter to build back to 100%. After that, you will be able to attack with full power once again. As a result, the combat isn't exactly real-time, and the pace of the gameplay is definitely slower when you compare it to something like Zelda. You have a wide range of weapons that you'll collect and upgrade over time. This is done by collecting weapon orbs and then going to Watts the blacksmith so he can perform the upgrades for you. Another interesting mechanic to go with Secret of Mana is the ring menu system. This is the main way you change armor and weapons, use items, cast spells, and perform other options as well. You're able to access this menu at any time, and it will pause the game, making sure you have enough time to plan and act out your next moves. The one thing that will make you utilize this menu the most is magic. There are many puzzles, enemies, and bosses that demand the correct use of magic in order to progress through the game. Overall, Secret of Mana has a pretty unique take on the action RPG genre, but it's also not the smoothest. The gameplay is where I feel Secret of Mana feels rough around the edges. I feel like there were a lot of moments where the game could have progressed a lot faster, but was paced slowly due to how the game mechanics work out. With that said, it's still a game that I find fun to play through, but it does leave something to be desired. When it comes to both the art style and the music, Secret of Mana is in a league of its own. The visual and atmosphere variance allows you to admire many colorful elements, all of which are captivating in their own different ways. Alongside that, there is always a fitting tune tied to every level that enhances the feeling the game wants you to feel. A highlight for me is the execution of boss battles. How some of the bosses really pop out at you, plus the extremely urgent music that goes along with it, really immerses me into the fight at hand. The main boss theme theme itself, simply entitled Danger, is quite the progressive tune that shows a transition between moods. It starts off by surrounding you with fear, but it's not too long until that one stray of light appears and gives you that ounce of hope that you need to triumph over evil. There are plenty of other games out there that require so much focus on the matter at hand that you simply can't take the time to appreciate the finer details of the atmosphere. But in Secret of Mana, it's entirely up to you if you just want to stop for a second and breathe in your surroundings. With all things considered, I don't consider Secret of Mana to be a top-of-the-line action RPG. The story doesn't particularly stand out to me, and some gameplay elements definitely haven't aged well over time. But when it comes to its use of visual and auditory imagery, it's definitely the most memorable for me in that regard. Yes, I may be saying this game is flawed as a result, but I can look past that and see the beauty behind it. Perfection in a way can serve to dull the experience. That may sound crazy at first, but I'd compare it to getting smothered by too much love. Being overwhelmed by adoration can blind your awareness of reality. Imperfection, however, really makes you think about and appreciate the finer points. In this case, it's what we see and the music that we hear. It's so powerful to me that what goes on around us at this point is lost to me, because I'm mesmerized by our little secret, and that is the Secret of Mana.